All right, so get this. In 2026, we're hitting two massive anniversaries at the same time, one for the United States and one for Italy. And it's not just a coincidence. It's really the story of a deep, intertwined history, one that's shaped both of these nations for the better part of a century. Today, we're going to unpack just how important that partnership has truly been.
Now, this whole explainer is actually part of a bigger project from We the Italians called Happy Birthday Italy. And it's all about looking at the many reasons Italy has to be grateful to the United States over the last 80 years. It all comes back to these two big birthdays.
So first up, you've got 250 years since the founding of the United States. I mean, that's a quarter of a millennium. Just incredible.
And right alongside that, we're celebrating 80 years since the birth of the Italian Republic back in 1946. This was a huge moment, when the nation chose a brand new democratic path after some incredibly tough decades.
Okay, so that's the big question, right? What does this 80-year bond actually look like on the ground? Well, it pretty much rests on three foundational pillars, and we're going to dive into each one to really get a feel for how they helped build modern Italy.
Let's kick things off with that first pillar, creating a solid foundation for democracy. Honestly, this is the bedrock of the entire relationship. Everything else is built on top of this.
To really get this, you have to transport yourself back to Italy in 1945. The country was just shattered. We're talking cities in ruins, an economy that had totally collapsed, and institutions that were completely compromised after 20 years of fascism. The new republic was born into this absolute chaos, and let me tell you, it was incredibly fragile.
And this is where you can see the critical steps unfolding. First, of course, was the liberation, where US-led forces played a huge role. Then comes the founding of the republic. But the real game changers, the things that truly stabilized the country, came next. The Marshall Plan, this massive American aid program that just poured money into rebuilding Italy's factories and infrastructure, and then Italy joining NATO, which anchored it firmly with the world's Western democracies.
And this support wasn't just a one-trick pony. It was coming from all sides. Politically, the U.S. was pushing for Italy's integration into groups like NATO. Economically, that jolt from the Marshall Plan helped kickstart what we now call the Italian economic miracle. The boom in design, cars, fashion, the whole shebang. And culturally, the American model of a constitutional democracy was this powerful example for a nation trying to find its feet again.
And right here, we start to see a theme that's going to pop up again and again, that vital human connection. This wasn't just governments talking to governments. In the critical 1948 election, thousands upon thousands of Italian Americans were writing letters back home, acting as this bridge, urging their own families to choose a democratic future. So powerful.
All right, let's move on to our second pillar, and you'll see how this builds on that foundation. It's the story of healing and innovation, one that completely changed the face of Italian research and medicine.
This relationship really started out of pure necessity. Right after the war, the U.S. sent over emergency aid, including miracle drugs like penicillin that literally saved countless lives. But it evolved so quickly. Soon, generations of Italian doctors were training in the U.S., bringing back new techniques, and before you knew it, Italy was integrating pioneering American medical tech. The relationship went from simple aid to a true partnership of equals.
I mean, the sheer scope of the influence here is just mind-boggling. We're talking about everything from new drug development to advanced tools like MRI scanners, which for the first time let doctors see inside the human body without surgery. We're talking about entirely new fields like genomics, and even organizational ideas like how to manage hospitals better and the whole concept of the humanization of care. All of it helped raise standards across the entire country.
And guess who was right there in the middle of it all once again? Yep, the Italian-American community. You had physicians, scientists, and philanthropists acting as that crucial bridge, setting up academic exchanges, helping to get funding, and just building those personal relationships that made all this scientific cooperation possible.
This brings us to our third and final pillar, and this one is probably the most emotional of them all. It's the incredible story of solidarity in moments of absolute crisis.
Over the last 80 years, whenever, and I mean whenever, Italy has been hit by a major natural disaster, American support has been immediate and tangible. Just look at this timeline. From the devastating Florence flood in '66, all the way to the Central Italy earthquake in 2016, you see this consistent pattern of support. And this isn't just about official government checks, it's about a deep human response that kicks into gear when people are in need. And this is where that Italian-American bridge becomes so incredibly powerful. For these communities, this isn't just about charity. It's an act of giving back to the land where their parents or grandparents came from. It's about turning that shared heritage into concrete action,
rebuilding homes, schools, and entire lives.
This quote, wow, it just says everything, doesn't it? It's from someone whose father helped coordinate the U.S. aid effort after the 1976 Friuli earthquake. As an Italian-American, he felt this dual loyalty, this pride in both nations. He was serving two flags. That just perfectly captures the spirit of this unique, unbreakable bond.
So, after walking through these three massive pillars, what's the big takeaway here? What's the bottom line of this incredible 80-year story?
Well, it really all comes down to these three pillars of gratitude. First, the United States helped anchor Italy's brand new democracy when it was at its most vulnerable. Second, it helped revolutionize Italian medicine, taking it from basic post-war aid all the way to a cutting-edge scientific partnership. And third, it has shown unwavering solidarity in the darkest of times, a solidarity made so much stronger by the passion of the Italian-American diaspora. And that's the golden thread that ties this whole story together. Whether it's in politics, science, or disaster relief, the Italian-American community has been that vital human link. They are the one heart in our title, two anniversaries, one heart, connecting these two great nations on a deeply, deeply personal level.
So, as we celebrate these incredible anniversaries, it leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. In a world that's changing faster than ever, how will this historic alliance, one built on shared values, shared innovation, and shared people, continue to evolve and grow even stronger for the next 80 years?